Welcome to Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, or UMS, is one of the private universities in Indonesia under Muhammadiyah organization, one of the biggest progressive moderate Islamic NGO that has been actively contributing to the development of Indonesia 30 years before its independence. UMS was founded in Surakarta, Central Java in 1958 with a vision to be the center of education and development of Islamic science, technology, and arts, and to provide a direction for change in 2029. Currently, UMS has 4 campuses with 60 study programs consisting of 35 bachelor degrees, 14 master degrees, 8 profession degrees, and 3 doctoral degrees, with a total of more than 30,000 active students from 34 provinces in Indonesia and abroad. As a private university, UMS has achieved recognitions. The institution has been accredited A by BANPIDI in 2017. More than 60% of study programs are accredited A by BANPIDI or LAMPIDI, included in the top 10 best Indonesian universities based on World QS in 2020. UMS has various facilities to support quality learning, research, and community service. Main building Siti Walidah. This round building consists of 7 floors designed by lecturers from architecture study programs. This building functions as a rectorate building as well as a center office of academic services for lecturers and students. Dental hospital with modern equipment for learning and practicing dentistry, as well as services for staff and students in needs. Auditorium is a multifunctional building for conventions, art space, and indoor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Uncertainty and challenges are inevitable, making continuous improvement essential for adoption. Developing an inclusive green economy calls for creative strategy to tackle both environmental and social challenges.
Advancing science and technology with fresh approaches is crucial for facilitating the shift to Society 5.0, where sustainability and inclusiveness form the foundation of economic growth.
Dear honorable speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6th International Conference on Economics and Business Studies. This conference is part of the International Summit on Science, Technology, and Humanity, Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. This year, International Conference on Economic and Business Studies is in collaboration with Universitas Muhammadiyah Ponorogo, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, and University Malaysia Sabah as co-hosts.
Hereby, I, Nurvita, and Indra will be the
Master of Ceremony
of today's event to guide participants until the conference ends. On behalf of the organizer, we wish to extend our warm welcome and thank you to all participants, guests of honor, and keynote speakers.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Surakarta, Indonesia. Code of conduct for the conference. First, the conference is committed to ensuring a harassment-free experience for all participants, irrespective of gender, age, ethnicity, or disability.
Second, harassment or offensive verbal comments from conference participants will not be tolerated in any form.
Third, please cultivate a considerate and respectful environment, promoting positive interaction among attendees.
Fourth, kindly ensure that your phone is silent or turned off during the conference.
Fifth, any violation to the terms will result to the presenter being called off and receive no refund or certificates.
Our first session is traditional dance gathering party. Please welcome Perbaning Tias Lintang and Aura Azara from the Art and Film Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta.
To participants, please enjoy the show. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next session is the Holy Quran recital that will be delivered by Mr. Yusuf Rahmatullah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار يطلبه حثيثا والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين ادعوا ربكم تضرعا وخفية إنه لا يحب المعتدين ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها وادعوه خوفا وطمعا إن رحمة الله قريب من المحسنين وهو الذي يرسل الرياح بشرا بين يدي رحمته حتى إذا أقلت سحابا ثقالا سقناه لبلد ميت فأنزلنا به الماء فأخرجنا به من كل الثمرات كذلك نخرج الموتى لعلكم تذكرون والبلد الطيب يخرج نباته بإذن ربه والذي خبث لا يخرج إلا نكدا كذلك نصرف الآيات لقوم يشكرون صدق الله العظيم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf Rahmatullah.
Participant, the next agenda is doa recitation. To Mr. Ahmad Bayhaki Esa Putra, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we pray, let's recite istighfar together. Astaghfirullahaladzim. 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 Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Hamdan yu'afi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa azimi sultanik. Allahumma sholli wa sallim wa barik ala Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. O Allah, the great forgiver, forgive us, our parents, our families, and everyone who has right or favor upon us. O Allah, purify our hearts from all distress and ease our matters in every path. O Allah, possessor of might and glory, indeed I ask you for beneficial knowledge, good and halal sustenance, and accepted deeds. O Allah, the supreme bestower, we beseech you to grant us safety in our struggle for your religion, both in this world and hereafter. Bestow upon us a healthy body, increasing knowledge and sustenance that brings blessings. Accept our repentance before death approach us. Shower us with mercy when we are in the grasp of death. Forgive us after death has taken us. Protect us from the flames of hellfire. Pardon us during our reckoning, all out of your love. O Allah, the most merciful Lord. O Allah, the most gracious, make our family and descendant the comfort of our eyes, and make us leaders for the righteous. O Allah, guide us to always be grateful for the blessing you have bestowed upon us and upon our parents. Also guide us to always perform good deeds that you approve of. Admit us into the group of your righteous servants. O our Lord, the most merciful, do not punish us if we forget or make a mistake. Do not lay upon us a burden as you did on those before us. Do not impose upon us a burden we cannot bear. Forgive us and have mercy on us. You are our helper, so assist us in overcoming those who deny you. O Allah, the most generous, bless us with good leaders and guide our leaders to be better. Bless us with good society and guide society to be better. Bless us with good teachers and lecturers and guide our teachers and lecturers to be better. Bless us with good students and guide our students to be better. O Allah, the source of peace, make this gathering of ours a merciful one, and our parting thereafter a protected one. Do not leave among us those who are unfortunate or deprived. Grant us, O our Master, repentance and guidance before death, peace and tranquility at the moment of death, and honor, forgiveness, and bliss after death. O Allah, the giver of all honor, honor us and do not humiliate us. Grant us and do not deprive us. Increase us and do not decrease us. Be for us and not against us. Give us preference and do not prefer other over us. Support us and do not support against us. O Allah, accept our prayers. Make what is coming better than what is grown for us. Open the doors of success and allow us more opportunity for greater things ahead. Forgive us and grant us paradise as our permanent home in the hereafter. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim tasliman katsira. Subhanaka rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Bayhaqi Isaputra.
Participants, the next agenda is singing National Anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, followed by Muhammadiyah Hymn. I invite all participants to stand up. Participants, please be seated. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, I would like to invite Chair the 6th International Conference on Economics and Business Studies to Mrs. Nandia Oktanti Pusparini. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the honorable guests, respected colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Conference on Economic and Business Studies 2024. It is my pleasure to stand here as the chair of this prestigious conference. I sincerely appreciate our esteemed invited speakers, Ryan B. Edwards, PhD, from Australian National University, Australia, Nusa Samani, PhD, from University of Gothenburg, Sweden, Ploy Plairin Kichkasiwat, PhD, from Konkan University, Thailand, Bapak Andi Dwi Bayu Bawono, PhD, from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. I also would like to express our gratitude to our co-host, Universitas Muhammadiyah Ponorogo, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto, University Malaysia Sabah, and other advisory boards who have provided the conference with valuable advice. The success of this conference is also due to the tremendous effort and commitment of the entire conference committee. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference is the 6th annual conference held by the Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, as part of the International Summit on Science, Technology and Humanity 2024 to celebrate the 66th anniversary of Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this conference is Building Inclusive Green Economy in Society 5.0. We chose this topic to highlight the growing importance of sustainable economic development that integrates advanced technologies while also ensuring inclusivity. As we move towards Society 5.0, which blends cyberspace and physical space, it's crucial to create economic systems that not only drive innovation, but also prioritize environmental sustainability and social equity. This year, we are pleased to welcome a total of 420 participants, with 85 joining us offline and 335 attending online. We hope this conference will provide us with better knowledge and network that enable us to conform with the new norm in this digitalization and globalization era. Our purpose is to provide an ideal academic platform for researchers to disseminate their research, technological information, innovation, and insight in economics. Therefore, I encourage all the attendees to seize the opportunity to engage with our esteemed speakers, because they are here to engage in dialogue, exchange ideas, and foster in collaboration. Last but not least, I would like to present our special thanks to the authors and also to participants, as without all of you, this conference will be impossible to be successfully held. Therefore, to all of our distinguished guests and participants, thank you for being here. Welcome to Indonesia, welcome to Surakarta, and enjoy the conference. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mrs. Nandia.
The next session is an opening remark from the head of the International Summit on Science, Technology and Humanity, Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, to Mr. Agus Ulinuha, PhD. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. First and foremost, I would like to convey my deepest respect and warmest regard to the Honorable Dean of Faculty of Economic and Business at UMS. I hope he is here already, or maybe someone is representing him. The distinguished chair and of the conference, the esteemed keynote speakers, we got very good keynote speakers, and with particular appreciation, the valued presenters and participants of this conference. Alhamdulillah, many thanks to Allah that has granted all the things, whereas this is the only that makes this conference takes place. One of activities of our university anniversary is hosting the International Summit on Science, Technology and Humanity, or ISETH. This year's ISETH covers 13 international conferences. One of the conferences is the International Conference on Economics and Business Studies, ICOEBS, 2024. The topic of this year's ICOEBS is Building Inclusive Green Economy in Society 5.0. As far as I know, green economy is economic system that aims reducing environmental risk and ecological scarcities while promoting sustainable development. Green economy offers multiple benefits, including reduced pollutions and greenhouse gas emission, better public health, conservation of ecosystem, and mitigation of climate change impacts. Moreover, it often helps build more resilient economics that can adapt to environmental and economic challenges. It is our hope that this conference will raise brilliant ideas to make this goal happen. I would like to thank the keynote speaker for the conference. We got 4 distinguished speakers. We do believe we will get bright and fruitful ideas from these speakers. I believe that to organize this conference, we got support and contributions from committee members and many people in this university. They have been working tirelessly for the successful of this wonderful event. Therefore, I would like to gratefully appreciate their support and contribution. Moreover, I should not disregard the university management that fully support this conference, such that this conference may be successfully carried out. In particular, I am in debt to thank to the faculty dean who has given support and motivation to this conference. It is our hope that this conference will be running well, and the papers presented in this conference might be published as soon as possible in the Scopus Index proceedings. More than that, the idea and findings discussed in this conference will have the opportunity for further improvements and application. Finally, on behalf of University Rector and ISETH Committee, I would like to officially open this conference by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Again, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy this conference and find this conference interesting. Nasru minallahi wa fathun qarib. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Agus Ulinuha.
Participants, ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving to the main agenda. In this plenary session, we have 4 speakers.
Mr. Ryan B. Edward, PhD from Australian National University, Australia.
Mrs. Nusha Samani, PhD from University of Gothenburg, Sweden.
Mrs. Plopailin Kitskasiwat, PhD from Konkan University, Thailand.
And Mr. Andi Dwi Bayu Bawono, PhD from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mrs. Widowati Dian Permatasari as moderator for the plenary session. To Mrs. Widowati, time is yours.
Allow me to introduce Mrs. Widowati Dian Permatasari. She is currently a lecturer in the Department of Accounting, Faculty of Economic and Business at Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. Mrs. Widowati has a strong academic background and is currently pursuing her doctoral degree in accounting at Universitas Indonesia.
Currently, Mrs. Widowati Dian Permatasari is working on her doctoral dissertation, which focus on corporate strategies in response to climate change and their impact on corporate sustainability performance in Indonesia.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, good morning everyone. How are you today? You're good or still sleepy? No? Right, I hope you're all well, and welcome to Solo for everyone that haven't been to Solo. My name is Wido, and I'm honored here to be your moderator in today's session on a topic that is both critical and challenging, that is building an inclusive green economy in Society 5.0. So the concept of green economy, as mentioned before by Mbak Nandia and Pak Agus Ulinuha, is aimed at managing environmental problems while achieving the sustainable development. As we know, the economic growth and the environmental sustainability should go hand in hand to make sure that all resources that we have is used efficiently and the pollution is minimized. Also, the ecosystem should be protected. And to ensure the true progress, this transition must be inclusive, guaranteeing that all social, environmental, and economic benefits are equitably shared across all levels of society. And the emerge of Society 5.0 offers a vision of a future where advanced technologies such as AI and IoT drive innovative solutions to these global challenges. Therefore, today, we will explore this topic with 4 distinguished speakers who will shed the light on these topics with their diverse perspective. So please join me in welcoming them to the stage. First, Ms. Plopailin Kikasiwat from Konkan University, Thailand. And second, Ms. Nusha Samani, PhD from University of Gothenburg, Sweden. And our lecturer here, Pak Andi Dwi Bayu Bawono, PhD from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. And last but not least, Mr. Ryan B. Edwards, PhD from Australian National University, joining online through Zoom today. Okay. Before we start, I would like to remind the speakers that we only have 30 minutes to present the materials. And for all participants here, that if you have any question, please write it down first and save it for the Q&A at the end of this session. And for the online participant that joining through Zoom, you can also participate by ask the question in the chat box, and the committee will select some of the questions to be discussed here. So, let's get to it. Our first speaker here is Mr. Ryan P. Edwards, PhD. He is the Deputy Director of Development Policy Center at the Crawford School of Public Policy, Australian National University. He holds a PhD in economics, and his research covers development economics, labor, international trade, and also the environment, with focus on Indonesia, Australia, and Pacific region. He leads some major initiatives under the Australian Government Pacific Research Program, including Pacific Labour Mobility Survey and Small Firm Diaries. He also the principal investigator and collaborator with international institutions like MIT's Poverty Action Lab, contributing extensively to research on migration and sustainable development. His expertise is really valuable in shaping policies for an inclusive green economy. Today, he will talk about economic policy for sustainable development that is applicable for Asian and Indonesian contexts. Mr. Ryan, are you here already? We haven't, yeah, your volume is too low. Mr. Edwards, can you?
Hang on one moment. How about now?
Yeah, it's better. So are you ready, Mr. Edwards?
But can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
That's loud enough now? Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I will just...
Yes, you have 30 minutes. The time is yours.
Excellent. Okay, thank you everyone for the kind invitation to speak at your conference. And good morning. I understand it's still relatively early there. It's just about lunchtime here in Canberra. I'm going to present a paper that I've been working on for a couple of years now, but I think it fitted most nicely with the themes of the conference. So it's a paper on basically an applied microeconomics case study of Indonesia's oil palm expansion. And the way that I've largely framed it now is that at least from 2000 up to 2015, this was a story of trade-offs, right, of sustainable development trade-offs. And this paper at the moment, if all goes to plan, should hopefully be in the Journal of International Economics in a couple of weeks after a few rounds of revisions. So the question this paper seeks to ask is it's a trade paper. So we're asking, how does the modern agricultural exports affect welfare and poverty in producing communities? So not at the country level, but down at the community or the district, the local labour market level. And why is this an interesting question? Well, we know that in general, growth in trade has often lifted incomes and reduced poverty in many countries in a wide variety of contexts. But agricultural export growth and primary commodity growth in general is far more controversial. There's concerns that it discourages industrial transformation and leaves areas specialising in agriculture worse off, or concerns around monopolistic power of the firms, not passing the profits back down to workers and so forth. So what we do in this paper is measure the impacts of Indonesia's oil palm expansion since the year 2000, which everyone will be very familiar with on the call, on regional poverty and consumption. And here I'm defining a region as a district or kabupaten. There won't be any cities in the data set, and we're going to focus on poverty and consumption, but we look at a lot of other channels to try and understand the mechanisms and the broader story. So there's three main contributions that this paper does make to the literature in economics. It's an economics paper, so I hope there's enough economists in the room, but I'll try and keep it relatively non-technical. The first part is on the distributional impacts of trade. We know that trade creates winners and losers, and as I mentioned, these commercial farming-oriented development strategies are often viewed to be harmful for the poor. The World Bank's World Development Report in 2008 was quite clear on this sort of institutional view. And what we got in this paper is, I guess, new evidence on this matter that doesn't quite line up with that view. And then there's a bigger question about sort of modern agricultural value chains and global supply chains, and what happens when these sort of large multinational firms reach into otherwise quite rural communities, and what happens with this sort of integration into the system. The main case study of this to date, I think, has been sort of Brazilian soy, but obviously this is an important one too. And the third main contribution, I think, is sort of highlighting sometimes poverty-environment trade-offs that need to be managed to achieve sustainable development. Next one. So on to background. So just the scale of the expansion over time is shown in this graph. And the one thing I guess that you'll notice quite clearly is that as a share, the smallholder share before decentralization and before 98 or 2000 was relatively smaller. But since then, it's grown to just under half of the production area. Of production volume, it's smaller, but of area, it's just under half, about 40-something%, depending on how well we believe we're measuring it. And 92% of the increase in production has come through area rather than through productivity, getting more out of the pre-existing land, which is the margin that we're, I guess, focusing on now with PSR and other programs. And most of this is exported. At least it was up to 2015, before some of the biofuels reforms. And so therefore, this is a story about an export shock, a large export shock. Now, what does the sector actually look like when to think about it? So it's quite different from some other export crops, because we're talking about plantation economies, and plantation economies that actually involve a lot more smallholders than plantation economies in other contexts. So here I've just got a few pictures from some of my own travels to sort of show what the supply chain looks like from the start. So obviously you've got the farm, then the produce comes down from the trees to the edge of the roads with the farm. As you can see my colleagues from WWF there when I was visiting during my PhD. Then you need the infrastructure, so roads that will not see everything fall off the top of them, that are not too bumpy, that will then take the produce to the mills, and then the mills will then process it and turn it into CPO, PKO, and so forth, and then it'll get shipped out. So there's a bit more going on there rather than just what you see on the farm side, right? So when you think about the channels and what needs to happen on the ground. So the data I'm going to use for this paper is just the official data, largely. So from the tree crop statistics of Indonesia yearbooks, I digitized all this by hand. I probably could have done it much quicker with AI now, or ChatGPT, or PDF reader, but yeah, I did not at the time. And so the oil palm data has come from here, and the median expansion was about 5% of district area in these areas that did, so 42,000 hectares. So it's quite a lot of area that we're talking about in terms of local change. And what I'm going to do in my empirical comparisons is I'm basically going to set my comparison up against all other alternative land uses by focusing on the increase in area that's under cultivation. And what this looks like in the data in the end-line period of 2015 is this. So this is the acreage, not as a share, this is in the levels. So you can see the very heavy producing regions there in Sumatra, and then Kalimantan as well. And a lot of the rest of the country did not produce all that much back then. And the other outcomes and variables come from quite a wide variety of sources, actually, but the main outcomes are coming from Susanas, which we pull out at the district level, but then you can also do some distributional analysis there, consumption, and then labour force surveys, population census to look at migration patterns, and PODES to look at infrastructure and things like this. So there's a lot of different data sources that have been pulled together for this paper. And if you just have an initial eyeball of the data, so here's the poverty rates in 2015. If you look at the yellow versus the brown, you see, compared to this figure, the areas that are darker here tend to be lighter here. But we don't know if this is just a correlation, or they were going into areas that already had lower poverty. Generally, you would think that was not the case in terms of where the plantations were developed in terms of labour costs and things like this. But let's look at that a bit more carefully using a research design and what we refer to in economics as an identification strategy. So the simple version of what this paper does is basically compare the changes in outcomes in the districts that expanded a lot versus those that expanded by less or not at all. Normally, you would use a treatment and a control type framework here, but you can't really do that in this context because most of your plausible control units, certainly on Kalimantan, are all producing a little bit. So it's much better to work with a continuous variable in this context. So this is the estimating equation of the regressions that we actually run, where we relate the outcomes on the left, YDT, to the change in the oil palm share of area between 2000 to 2015. We use a long difference here rather than like a short panel because as most people are familiar with the production process is, it takes time to get the land, to wait for first yields, and across different districts, the process was relatively slow and staggered in terms of adoption. So it makes sense to take a much longer term perspective of it rather than try and pick up a effect within a year from a panel estimator, which would really give you a super short run effect. And so by using a panel setup, you can remove the district-specific confounders with district fixed effects, the time-specific trends with the year dummies, and then adjust the trends based on initial conditions where some of the expansion districts were a little bit different, such as their rural population shares, employment shares in agriculture and industry, and so forth. And the estimation sample here is all rural districts in the outer islands. So I'm going to remove Kota and Java. For obvious reasons. We don't really want to compare to them because there's a lot of convergence going on and other things. And the main empirical problem here is obviously endogenous adoption. We might expect the areas that are adopting to be adopting for other reasons that would be correlated with the outcomes that we're interested in studying. So what I do here, I need to stop saying we, there's no royal, it's just my paper, is we're going to exploit the geographic differences in suitability for oil palm cultivation, which this comes from a relatively exogenous agroclimatic model that doesn't use any inputs about production on the ground or anything like that in calculating what potential yields are. And so we'll take the district level potential yields from that model, and then I'm going to interact that with the post-period indicator. And the reason that the post-period indicator works quite nicely is because over this time you can think of demand as being mostly externally driven and an external shock. So in the cross-section, you've got areas that are due to natural conditions able to get different amounts of profit from that same hectare due to their suitability, and then in the temporal dimension, you do have this shock that has happened. And in terms of the institutional context, we know that with decentralization, it was much easier for districts to then sort of expand in different ways and smallholders to do the same in the post-Reformasi era. So it works quite nicely with this type of an IB strategy. And what you see here is if I plot potential yields against the share of district area under cultivation in both the year 2000 or 2015, the correlation comes to life in the latter period, which is what you would expect if the IV was working properly and in the boom. So this is the first stage, and that's how it works. So the main result of the paper, here's some tables, but I'll mostly talk through what they mean in practical terms. So I've got least squares results in the left-hand column, then instrumental variables results in the middle, and then the reduced form results in the right-hand side. And by reduced form, I mean the relationship between the instrument and the outcomes, which is quite helpful here because we know that the instruments are actually exogenous. So if you're allergic to instrumental variables, like many economists are, we can just focus on the reduced form, but it doesn't give us as clear an interpretation. And we know that there's lots of suitable areas that have not expanded. So it's a different estimate that we're getting. It's not the local average treatment effect of expanding, it's the hypothetical effect across all potential expanders, right? But the main finding is that the median expansion that I mentioned before, gives you about 3 percentage points faster poverty reduction relative to those that have not expanded, and 4% faster consumption growth. And think over the same period, national poverty did fall from about almost 19% down to about 11%. And so when you think about the variation in there, it's not explaining a huge amount of the poverty reduction, but not small either, right? A 3 percentage point difference on average between these areas is not trivial. And so we can also back out, this is just quite a crude back of the envelope calculation, there's no fancy modeling or anything, but if we just sort of take the betas and then set the expansions down to zero and calculate the differences, we see that about 2.6 of the 11 million that were lifted from poverty over this period can be attributed to the expansion. Using OLS, of course, it's much smaller, but we don't really believe the OLS result, that it's the IB or the reduced form that would be much more credible in this regard. And so this main result, this main story of overall decline in poverty and a rising average median consumption can be explained in three main ways. Well, two main ways, and then one sort of counter-explanation that's an obvious concern. The first one is just rising returns to labour and land. A lot of the story around oil palm in the economics literature is about it being a labour-saving crop, which is correct if you think about it on a per hectare basis for an individual farmer changing out of rubber or something similar. But it's not true when you think about it at the district level, when you're planting more and therefore needing more labour, right? And so the new version of the paper unpacks this dynamic in a lot more detail, because as it turns out, it generated, the net effect on jobs was relatively significant. But we do see rising agricultural wages and rising output per worker. And this result is not just explained by new farmland only, there also seems to be some more productive reallocation within the agricultural sector. And then the other main channels, I think, also we sort of see indirect effects at the district level on a broader set of outcomes. So we see positive fiscal outcomes in terms of more own source revenues for governments at different levels, both the DESA and the Kabupaten, and then we see more public goods in general. And also household investment as well, but yes. And then the main concern obviously might be migration. Like with these rates, you could worry that poor people are leaving. No, the poor people are coming in or the rich people are leaving, which could mechanically drive the results if there is selective assorting, a sort of matching across the areas direction, which is kind of what we would expect. A lot of labourers coming in will tend to be lower income rather than richer. Anyhow, so I'm not sure how much time I've got left, but I assume I'm doing okay for time. So then the paper then sort of concludes, this was largely due to the journal process actually, and a lot of feedback that people just didn't want me to look at development. They wanted me to focus on the other side of the ledger a lot as well in revising and writing the paper. So I also used the same approach here to look at, basically to try and calculate for each bit of poverty reduction that we've seen, what was the sort of average effect on forest loss, fires, social conflicts and health outcomes and such during the same period. But the story there is one of trade-offs. So here I'm obviously using satellite data on tree cover change, which was also highly imperfect, just like hotspots are highly imperfect. We know that the causes of wildfires are very diverse actually. I've got another few papers on this. But forest loss as well is a tricky one because it picks up fires and it also basically it's forest loss and tree cover change rather than deforestation per se, which is worth stressing. But nonetheless, the finding for this bit is that each percentage point of poverty reduction corresponds to around the 1.5 to 3% of district area changing in tree cover as well. 10% more fire, and there is some evidence of more social conflicts using the fights variable that's in Port S. Not MVMS, because that has much weaker coverage across districts over time. So yeah, that's the overall story of the paper. There's a really good news economic story, then there's a not so good news in terms of the environment, but I guess since then, what I haven't put into these slides, but is worth stressing if you've read we have a bulletin of Indonesian economic studies paper where we sort of reflect on the state of agriculture in Indonesia. It was about 2 years ago. But deforestation trends have looked really positive since 2015, but production has continued to increase, which looks to me like a decoupling of this trend that I documented actually in my paper up to 2015. So mostly a good news story, in fact, looking forward. But this paper nonetheless, so we used the large increase in oil palm cultivation as a natural experiment to measure the distributional impacts of modern agricultural exports. We found a reduction in poverty, an increase in consumption through various channels. And the takeaway here for me is that actually agricultural exports can really quite significantly improve livelihoods in quite rural parts of Indonesia and other developing countries where there might not be so many great economic opportunities and formal jobs in agriculture or elsewhere. And we do see evidence of non-farm employment too. However, this is obviously quite environmentally costly if it is through extensive expansion, and if deforestation is a part of that. But fortunately, it seems like we've seen quite a shift towards the intensive margin with more crop shifting, a focus on yields, and non-forest expansions of late with various policy changes that have taken place. The big limitation of this type of an exercise is that by comparing relatively across districts, it's not a general equilibrium exercise, so we can't say anything at all about the aggregate welfare effects for the country at large because of spillovers. When you do these exercises, you're assuming that there's no spillovers between the units, which in reality we know just cannot be true, right? A lot of the firms are headquartered in cities, there's trade across districts and so forth. So we can't speak to those aggregate welfare impacts or structural change more broadly, but we can speak to local economic development, and I think we've done that reasonably well. The paper, yeah, I'm wrapping it up for a final round of revisions, but I nonetheless still do welcome feedback. And here's a photo of me when I was a fair bit younger at the end to conclude with a bunch of farmers that we were chatting to that were very, very welcoming. But I will stop there and stop sharing. I hope that was all clear enough, and I'm sorry that I could not join you in person as well due to my schedule at the moment.
Thank you. Please give round of applause for Mr. Edwards. Wow, that's really insightful presentation. His research is actually in Indonesia. How about us Indonesian people? Do you did research like this? Like this, his data set, I think it's amazing. You know, we know that Indonesia is produce palm oil like a lot, but I don't even hear Indonesian people doing research about this palm oil cultivation, which is amazing. And his research actually highlight that the cultivation of palm oil is actually have two sides of the story, which is the positive side is actually reduce poverty in their area, in the palm oil area, which is the impact is direct, is also indirect. The direct is actually labor and the increase of livelihood within that area, and there is also indirect impact for the investment, the increasing of the education and health and stuff. But on the other hand, there's also the environment impact that is, I think nowadays impact Indonesia a lot, like there is a lot of flood and disaster in Indonesia, which is, it's actually costly for us to maintain it. And I think it's really, we should also think about reforestation, so we could maintain our resources. And probably, if I could add, it would be very interesting if this research combined with Indonesian policy from the government. You know, like Indonesian policy is quite something that we can explore, but then, yeah, the data set is quite hard to get, but that's the other story. So let's move to the next speakers. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Neosha Samani, PhD, a senior lecturer at the University of Gothenburg, Sweden, with a PhD in business administration, and her research focuses on financial reporting, corporate governance, and also the role of accounting in monitoring mechanism. She has led and contributed to numerous impactful projects, including major research on sustainability reporting and audit practices, particularly in Nordic region. And her publications have appeared in renowned academic journals. And in addition to her research, she is an active educator, supervisor of one of the OMS lecturer here, and also a key contributor to international discussion on accounting standards. So today she will talk about corporate sustainability reporting on social aspect and also the stakeholder perspectives. So let's warmly welcome Ms. Neosha Samani, PhD, to the stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. It's very nice, and I'm looking forward to also see the campus, UMS. I will focus mostly on the social dimension, and of course it's we always need to think about the trade-off between different dimensions, but I focus based on what I have also in my recent research on employees and the role of workers. So if I could have my slides. Yeah, perfect. Oops. Now I'm going very far. Sorry. Okay. So here we are, corporate sustainability reporting and social dimension. And of course, I will present some information about the conceptual framework we have from Europe. Europe has gone through substantial changes in recent years and have introduced the first set of sustainability standards. So it's interesting perhaps to provide some information on what are these standards and where are the focus and what are the challenges that corporations now have when it comes to providing sustainability reporting.
It's better you move here? It's okay?
It's fine. So it's always nice to perhaps start with the goals, and you're all familiar with these goals that was set for the Agenda 2030, and all members in the UN agreed on these 17 goals, which covers different dimensions, again, environmental and social dimensions, and so on. And it's quite clear looking at these goals to see several of these goals explicitly focus on the social aspects. So goals such as improved education, improved work conditions, reduced poverty, economic growth, and all these are related definitely to focusing on the social dimensions, focusing on the workers, their conditions, and so on. And looking at different statistics all over the world, we can see that people have healthier life, more work-life balance, but at the same time, it's definitely obvious concerns that various individuals have in different societies in terms of looking at what kind of working conditions they're going to have. A lot of societies will go through a lot of transformation through digitalization, and so many questions exist in different societies, not least thinking about sustainability matters and future. And this is not, Europe is not excluded, so there are some statistics coming here from the European Commission, and this data is perhaps rather old, from 2017, but that's where they actually provided a very detailed report on social dimensions and various statistics. The trend more or less exists today as well. So they asked, and did they survey and ask people in Europe in terms of what kind of concerns they have. And as you can see, it's very much obvious that 8 out of 10 Europeans basically consider unemployment, increase in inequality as being top concerns for them as well. Or for example, 7 out of 10 Europeans, they basically focus on how these social dimensions also very much poorly managed in various European states. And so overall, it seems that when you ask Europeans about the conditions that they have in the societies, they feel that they are living a happy life, but they also have these concerns, especially for future generation. Another thing that's quite obvious from the statistics coming from Europe is that it's quite a bit of a diversity all over Europe. So we cannot, even though we believe that the values that we have in Europe are very much fundamental and very much aligned with the UN goals, when it comes to practice, when it comes to actually implementation of those into the national laws, then we can see this diversity. So it's perhaps nice to look at some of these sort of data that we have. So on the left-hand side, you can see this unemployment rate, and it's obvious that Northern Europeans and continental Europe has definitely much lower rate of unemployment. When it comes to south of Europe, then you can see this big gap, and the unemployment raises to a big extent. And So this diversity, again, it can be related to many different factors. One could, or perhaps the most important one is, again, the national laws we have in different countries supporting employees and economic growth. So this is more on the left-hand side. This is what I do, and it's very much related to my own research interest in terms of the co-determination and giving employees voice and rights to participate on decision-making. So we can see that this basically really related to the laws that implemented in different European states. On these dark blue maps, you can see that we have these widespread rights for employees to participate in decision making. So, for example, by sitting on the board of directors and raise their voice. There are different ways to raise voice. So, for example, labor unions is very much important, and that they be part of the labor unions and again raise their concerns and so on. But in many states, we can also see that there is limited or even no rights for employees to raise their concerns, for example, through labor unions or participation on the board of directors. So it's very interesting to see this variety within Europe. So getting closer to problems and the role of corporations specifically, it has been very much discussed. For example, we know the problems that were raised. We just went through some examples. But then corporations and their role has been questioned. So corporations for a long time actually being pressured a bit by stakeholders have been providing information in their reports, addressing various concerns, environmental or social. But what is the problem goes back to the greenwashing, and perhaps you have heard about that before, which means that it's very much likely that actually those poor performers, sustainability performers, are those that provide this positive image of the company. So because of this problem that has been raised for a long time and the pressure from the different stakeholders, then the various policymakers started to act. And in Europe, then we actually have the first set of standards to try to regulate these disclosures more, to make them more accountable for what they say and what they report. But we cannot say that regulation is always good. There are always costs with regulation, right? So there's direct or indirect cost. Direct cost is very much related to providing the reports. It's costly for corporations, so basically putting them so much under pressure maybe is not beneficial for economic growth again. But there is also elements of indirect cost. Perhaps corporations do not want to provide much information due to sensitive information being released and so on. So in Europe, when we had this first set of standards, actually it was a lot of criticisms for why do we pressure corporations so much, and this brings European corporations at a competitive disadvantage. A lot is happening in this picture, and I do not want to go through the details of it, but I thought it's perhaps good to have a sort of overview about what is happening. And it's happening a lot all over the world. Some of these guidelines, you're familiar with that. So on the top left, we have the sustainability, top right, sorry, we have sustainability goals, UN, for example, one of them. Some of them are more specific, related to environmental matters and so on. But then we have had guidelines, reporting guidelines specifically for corporations to be, again, more responsible and accountable. For a long time, GRI, perhaps you have heard before, the Global Reporting Initiative, has been adopted voluntarily all over the world for a long time, especially by large corporations. Then again, they want to show themselves accountable and responsible. We have OECD guidelines and so on. But when we look at the regulations, we have this first set of regulations in oh, sorry. First set of standards in Europe basically was a breakthrough. We have this non-financial reporting directive that was basically released in 2014, and it made large corporations in Europe, basically more than, for example, 500 employees, and other criteria you can see when it comes to total assets and revenue, to ask them for providing mandatory disclosures for sustainability matters. And they believe that having mandatory disclosures as opposed to them providing information voluntarily, making them more accountable and reduce this greenwashing problem that we talked about. But the overall guidelines were quite, it was not so specific. It was very much like, again, based on voluntary perspective, you can decide what you want to provide as information. So they had these general aspects that they asked European companies, large companies to provide, such as environmental protection, requests for human rights, employees protection and treatment of employees. So 6 large aspects, or 5, sorry. But then when it came to the specific information, they just asked to provide information about how is it connected to your business model, the policies, what you're going to do for treatment of, for example, when it comes to employees, the outcome, the principles, risk, and how do you deal with these risks, and so on. But it was very much, again, at the hand of management of the corporations, to how much information they want to provide. This got criticized again, that this doesn't help because it's very much broad, and more specificity in terms of what information corporations should provide is needed. So now we have CSRD instead, which is Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. It had 2 fundamental changes as opposed to the first directive. So it has introduced the first sustainability reporting standards that is very much specific. It goes through different dimensions of environment, social, and so on. And then it also, on top of it, asks corporations to provide assurance of these reports. So again, to reduce this element of greenwashing. So now the auditors not only are required to have an overview of the financial reports provided by companies, but also looking at the sustainability. So it's a lot now happening, and most companies in Europe are going through that today, actually, because they started to implement that from 2024. Another element that perhaps is quite important and is unique when it comes to European standards is that they adopt this so-called double materiality perspective. So what does that mean? It means that there is quite various approach when it comes to sustainability standards, guidelines that we have all over the world. So you might have also heard about this Sustainability Standard Board, International Sustainability Standard Board, that also produces some sustainability standards. They have a financial perspective, which means that if these damages, these harms, has an effect on the value of the company, they should report on it. So that's more of a financial perspective. But what European perspective has followed is basically, or approach that they have followed is more like not only you should provide information on the risk and opportunities that these actions could have for the financial performance of the firm, but also the impact materiality, which means that how the companies are impacting environment and social aspects. So they're really focusing on that, they're stressing that, and they say you should provide negative and positive information and real and potential information. So this is an overview. You're familiar with various aspects that could come under environmental, social, and governance, so I can perhaps quickly pass through that. But again, the focus I have on aspects such as diversity, human rights, employee rights, and so on. So connected to that, we have these European standard reporting, sustainability reporting standards. So basically they start from some general guidelines. So ESRS 1 and 2, it provides some information about how you should think about sustainability matters, the policies, the materiality that I just mentioned. But then they go through specific standards for various dimensions. So when it comes to environmental, they have 5 specific standards for climate change, pollution, water, biodiversity, and finally resource use and circular economy. For social aspects, they have a specific standard for the entity's own workforce, so the employees that are directly or part-time recruited by the company, but also workers in the value chain. So that is something that has been quite challenging for corporations in Europe, because when it came to financial information, they should have only looked at their own entity. But now when it comes to sustainability, they have to actually go through the supply chain and also have a look at how subsidiaries basically treat employees. So it's a very challenging standard, this ESRS S2 workers in the value chain. Again, the end stakeholders of affected communities, ESRS S1 is focusing on them and the consumers. So I had a presentation of these standards, and everything looks very promising and a lot of potential for providing high quality sustainability information from corporations. But unfortunately, there are lots of challenges ahead. So still comparability is a big question, whether or not the stakeholders can actually compare and judge the quality of information and the information that they need. Even though we have these specific standards for various dimensions, a lot of choices are given to the management in terms of whether or not they believe the information is material. That's the first step that they need to take. This dimension, is it relevant for my business or not? And then another question is basically how to disclose and how to provide information that users can actually make a proper decision. It's very much related to the fact that measurement does not exist so far for sustainability reporting. So all is there is basically to disclose this data input, and no aggregated measure exists for us. So we have been very much in accounting proud of these final items we put in the financial statements under assets and liabilities and equity, but we have no aggregated measure when it comes to sustainability reporting. And for users that have been very much focused on these final measures, it's quite hard to again compare the information across the companies. And another challenge is related again to the balances between various dimensions. Perhaps focusing very much on the environment could be at the cost of the direct cost in the beginning. And we believe that the stakeholders accept this trade-off, especially for the initial years of implementation. Yeah, so when it comes to social aspects, then it's kind of related to the general challenges we have for sustainability reporting, and that's basically development of aggregated social indicators. This is something that's definitely beneficial for users, but we don't have that. And another challenge that perhaps I already mentioned is basically related to understanding the employment treatment and other social aspects in the supply chain is really difficult. And at the end, what is important is to remember that basically the reporting, the goal is to bring the actions in the companies, and whether or not we can actually believe that these reporting could have any real impact on changing corporation behavior is also very difficult. And we need to wait first to see how it's implemented and how it comes to the behavior and practice of the companies. Yeah, so how to account for sustainability topic in general, how to disclose them, and lack of aggregated data is something that I can perhaps emphasize today. And when it comes to social indicators, because it's quite difficult, actually the European Commission decided to postpone the detailed information of, for example, information in the supply chain today. And in the first years of implementation of the standards, corporations do not need to provide the information for example, related to the supply chain. And it goes back to the heart of the challenge that corporations have. The challenges brings us to the importance of more research. So basically, what is important to do for all of us as researchers is to focus on whether or not actually reporting, that's the first step for corporations, would result in any real changes. And there is already some research that look at that. Look at, for example, when it comes to the employee treatment, they have looked at implementation of certain laws for reporting on employee treatment. Has it any effect on real changes incomes in the corporation? But definitely more data and more unique data coming from the corporations is definitely beneficial. There is also a question whether or not we should expand the same way that we did for financial information, expand the conceptual framework and provide very specific concepts and definitions for corporations looking at sustainability matters. When it comes to aggregation, there are already some solutions that maybe we should ask management to focus on different indicators, come with an aggregated measure, but it also brings its own problem of how management look at different dimensions, how do they weigh them and come up with an aggregated measure. So it's not easy. And then there are some more like restricted solutions that maybe we should really ask companies to put that as a cost against their revenue. This is an opportunity cost, and it should be really balanced against the profit that the company has. So there are those options as well. This is a paper that you have from Alfred Wagenhofer. He really summarizes these challenges from European, the first set of standards that we have, and some solutions that we could do for future. I don't know how much time I have, but I think as a final point, I want to focus also on stakeholder and stakeholder engagement, something that I have been looking also in my research, also with one of your colleagues, Rahmati, in terms of how the empowerment of, for example, employees as one of the stakeholders can really result in changes in corporations. So reporting maybe is not enough. If stakeholders are more engaged and if corporations include stakeholders in decision making more, that actually could have a win-win situation, result in win-win situation. European Commission has absolutely stressed the importance of stakeholders, different type of stakeholders in their mind, and they also stress that clear assessment of the materiality is very much related to this stakeholder engagement. If you believe that it's not all related to the valuation, but how we are affecting different stakeholders, we need to engage with them more. And I've been looking at this theory also recently quite a bit in terms of this stakeholder salience theory that focuses on the relevance of stakeholders, the urgency and the power of stakeholders and how that actually can result on various changes in behavior of corporations. So again, if I get back to the slide that I show on different corporation laws that we have in Europe, that's one way to empower stakeholders. So, for example, Nordic countries have given this voice through their law to employees to come and sit on the board of directors, and that gives them plenty of power to have to engage with companies and raise their voice and so on. There are some ideas, perhaps we should have a representative of nature coming and sit on the board of directors, and that's again another element of stakeholder engagement. Being interested in this area, together with my colleague, she's also here, Emily, we did some research on, in general, the sustainability reporting, the topics that have been studied in the research, looking at quite a broad range of papers that are published in the accounting journals. And we can totally see when it comes to valuation. Valuation is a very important topic, and it has been also raising over time. But research has been also looking at the role of policymakers and regulation, and we can see that research is also growing because we have more requirements, more regulations coming in. And finally, we were also interested, again, going back to the idea of stakeholder and stakeholder engagement, how different corporations look at stakeholders, again, through the lens of research. And it's quite interesting that actually we can see that, of course, capital providers, shareholders, right, are those that are the primary stakeholders and the focus of the research and corporations. But there are other different type of stakeholders. We can also see that they're growing. So it's promising. But again, when we if you're interested in the social aspects, we can see that employees are not very much researched. And maybe it's interesting to also focus on various type of stakeholders and how corporations engage with them. And by that, I can perhaps have a final point in terms of the ultimate expectation is that if companies embrace responsibility, observable shift in organizational practices towards more sustainable approaches should follow. So making them more accountable, even though we should respect the challenges that they will go through, so provide some leeway for that, but making them more accountable should hopefully result in substantial changes, and they play a major role for sustainable growth. So, thank you, and terima kasih.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Amani. I have tons of notes in this paper. So first thing is the topic is really interesting because the social aspect, as you mentioned, that haven't been much explored nowadays. We quite focus on environmental aspect because probably it's easier to measure, like greenhouse gas and stuff. But then also the social aspect is really important too, right? So the co-determination of the employee sitting at the BOD, which is not, I don't think it's really happening here in Indonesia. I hope not yet. But the labor union exists, so when there is new policy or regulation from the company that is not matched with what they want, and they will get demonstration, you know. So yeah, that's the labor union exists, but I think it still need to be more encouraged here. Yeah, and then the greenwashing. It's actually intriguing for me because it's also related with my current project. In Indonesia, particularly, we use GRI and then GRI reporting, and it's still, there is some indication that greenwashing still exists. But nowadays, the Indonesian standard setter want to move to IFRS, Sustainability Disclosure Standard. And I think the ESRD from European is more advanced because it's considered the double materiality, the impact and the financial. But the IFRS is unfortunately only focused on financial, which is for the stakeholder. And yeah, it's, you know, it's capital provider, it's also important. So I hope that one day Indonesia can also, or other Asian country also consider the double materiality. And then the last you say about stakeholder priority, some of company in Indonesia. So I have a recent project that I talked to some people that responsible about ESG in their company, and they also talk about, yeah, we have to prioritize the stakeholder who we have to provide first, and they also say that, yeah, we have to prioritize the capital provider, the investor first. That's why in Indonesia particularly, and I think in Malaysia also, we will soon using the IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standard first, which is the the main user is the investor first. But then, yeah, I hope we can one day also consider the another stakeholder that also crucial for the company, the employee, the natural, probably from like NGO or something that can sitting on board as well. What an amazing presentation. Thank you, Ms. Samani. Let's proceed to our next presenter, Ms. Plo Pailin Kikasiwat, PhD, an assistant professor in finance at Khon Kaen University, Thailand. She holds a PhD in finance from the University of Waikato, New Zealand, and her research focuses on green finance and financial inclusions. She has also been actively involved in international research, contributing to impactful studies on financial innovation, sustainability, particularly in developing economies. In addition to her academic work, she has served as the Assistant Dean for International and Communication Affairs at Konkan University and continues to shape the future of finance through her teaching and supervision of doctoral students. Today she will talk about the importance of creating financial inclusion, such as in circular economy and social empowerment. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Plo Pailen Kikasiwaj, PhD, on the stage.
สวัสดีค่ะ Assalamu alaikum and good morning everyone. So I will move to that one. Thank you for having me today. Today I will focus more on finance side, particularly financial inclusion. I will talk about financial literacy, and then also green economy. The title is the role of financial inclusion in circular economy and social empowerment. Okay, so when we talk about financial inclusion, sometimes we don't think that is linked with circular economy, green economy, right? So for today, I will talk about how financial inclusion is can motivate or can categorize the green economy. I will talk about the definition of financial inclusion. I know maybe you guys already know about that, but I will talk a little bit more in the detail, particularly focus on the Asian part, Indonesia, Thailand, Southeast Asia. Also, I will talk from the corporate side and also individual side as well. And then I will talk how financial inclusion relevant to green economy and how financial inclusion serves as a driver for broader participation in sustainable practice. Okay, what is the financial inclusion? Financial inclusion is defined as an asset to financial product and service to meet individual needs. Financial inclusion can be measured by three aspects. First, uses, second, assets, and the third one is quality. This is linked with our life because we have to use money, right? So now we use mobile phone to transfer the money for the payment. Some people have a saving account in the mobile app. We buy insurance or we get the loan from fintech app, right? So this is all linked to us. Let's look at the first dimension of financial inclusion, which is financial uses. This one is involve the extent to which individuals use financial product and service. For example, if you have a banking account, if you save money at the bank, if you use the bank loan, if you use the bank the bank mobile app or other source of tools to pay bills, to receive the wages and to transfer the money to other bank account. The second dimension is financial asset, which is about how you asset to financial service and product. For example, you get the money from ATM, you pay your bills, electric bill by payment service providers, or you go to the service terminal. In Thailand, we service terminal that is very convenient to use is 7-Eleven. So we can pay the bill by going to 7-Eleven. The third dimension which I will mainly focus today is financial quality. Financial quality is measured by capturing the extent to which individual is confronted by barriers to obtain a bank account or getting a financial support from the bank. For example, is it too difficult for you to go to the bank? some people in rural area will feel it's very challenging to go to the bank, right? Because the distance is so far. So this one is financial quality. And also, if you have to access the loan from the bank by having a high financial cost, or do you have any document that you need to apply for the bank loan, something like that? And then another things in financial quality is we will talk about financial literature, which is very important. Okay, so I will give some information about this survey. The survey is Asian Digital Generation Report, Digital Financial Inclusion. This is sponsored by, this is present in the World Economic Forum. This survey is already done and present the data in December 2022. So let me move a little bit this slide first. So actually it's not very clear, but this one is about the participation of this survey, participants of this survey. This survey is mainly conducted in the Southeast Asia country, which include Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, and some other country. So the participant number of participants is a lot, like many thousand. So we can see here is not very clear. So about 74% of people having a saving account, and then large proportion of people they use the e-payment. However, only 20% can access or can access to advanced financial product and service, which is about getting the money from the bank, investment, and having insurance. The people here, I cannot see very clear, so let me have a look here. So mainly people here, the number of people who can access to financial product is the people who are working in the working age, which is not too old or not too young, something like that. You can see the word in the graph, right? Or you cannot see as well. Sorry. And then also the research show that male can access to product and the bank product and service better than women. And people who have higher education, people who graduate from university can access to the financial product and service. So it's quite interesting survey. Let me move back. Oh, sorry. Let me move back to the first slide. Okay, which of these financial service have you used? Mainly, if you look at the green color is the people who use online channel, and this one, the dark green, is the people who don't use, who don't have any or access to any financial service. So many people, many participants, they use they access to financial service just to pay or to transfer the money, but very less that people use access to financial service for the insurance, for getting loan, or for investment. So when we look at what is the most app in Asian regions that they use, so from the left hand side you can see social media app is the highest percentage that many people use, right? We watch YouTube, we look some social media for the interaction, and then for the e-wallet is the least. But when we look at Asian compared to Thailand, in Thailand, we have highest percentage. 83 of Thai people have used digital finance application, is the highest one in Asia. The second one, for Thai people, they use social media app. Okay. Why the asset to financial service is important. So now I want to shift a little bit to corporate size, which is, I will focus on MSME, which is micro, small and medium enterprise. The first reason that participant answer is they use the financial service for managing the cash flow and expense. The second one is to allow them to expand their business. And the third one is to provide a social safety net. Why SME is more likely to receive the funding from commercial bank? The highest share of micro enterprise receive the fund from fintechs. When this survey asks the corporate, the company about where you get the financial support from, the highest percentage is commercial bank. But it's very interesting, in Indonesia, the highest percentage of MSME, especially micro enterprise, get the financial support from fintech apps, which is very interesting. Okay. So I want to focus a little bit about like financial literacy. You see, informal finance is that side, right? So financial service and product is like a high building. So if you are unserved or underserved, you can just access only this side. This is a basic product, which for me is about, like, not just for me, it's about payment, to save the money, to have the bank account, to transfer the account. That is a basic financial product and service. But if you want to go higher, upper the building, this is an advanced product, which is about loan, investment, insurance. If you don't have financial information, if your country is a low financial inclusion, so you can just only access this product, cannot climb up to the higher building. This one is a little bit about a financial product that you invest in. The highest percentage of participants in Asia, they say they use their money, for example, to invest in the gold, right? Now the gold price is increased, so the gold has a highest percentage that people invest. The second one, I do not want to invest in any financial product. When looking at Thailand, this is the Thailand side. So the top three is the first. Thai people like to put the money into the bank deposit. Just leave the money in the bank, which eventually is, we will suffer from the inflation, right? The second one is gold. And the third one is very interesting, lottery. Yes, this is the top three that Thai people save the money in. Okay. And then when we ask them where you get the loan from, in Asian country, the highest majority of people, they say they get the financial support from friends and family. The second one is commercial bank. But in Thailand, the highest number is get from commercial bank. And the fintech is here, so it's very low in Thailand. So this is a room for us to improve the fintech's application or service to get to help the people have more loan. When we talk about corporate size, the biggest portions of corporate we suffer from getting the loan from the financial institute is micro firm, right? So micro firm face a lot of, because they don't have collateral to show the bank, so it's very difficult for them to get the support from the bank. And when we look at the people, these are the people who don't have access to the credit. I mean, compared to other normal participants, normally man is get easier to get support from the bank. Women don't. Why? Because some women, they are in informal worker, right? In informal worker, they don't have job, or sometimes they are just a housekeeper, so then they don't have the like the salary slip to show the bank. And some people who live in rural area, in some small island, is people still difficult to access to the bank money. And people who below 30, or people who have no education, people who face some difficulty for the digital asset and micro enterprise. These are the group. In Thailand, this bank, the Bank of Ayutthaya, is the first bank that issued the Women Enterprise Bond to international investor. So this one is raising the total about total amount of $220 million to support SME owned by Thai women. And this is the first time in Asian Pacific regions. This is the first social bond issued by emerging Asian markets to launch this kind of bond to support the female owners, female entrepreneurs to get the financial support for their business. And I think you heard about Garment Bank in Bangladesh, right? So this one, they give the loan for women. So when they give the loan for women, after that, it shows that the bad debt rate is reduced. And then it's increased employment rate, and then is people engage more in economic participation, economic activity, and overall is improve the social quality. Okay. So when you can access to finance or when financial inclusion is high, so it's eventually improve the overall quality of life. So I go back to the survey a little bit. So they asked where you learn about finance, where you learn how you manage the finance. So many people, like in Asia, many people learn from family and friends. And some of people in Thailand, some of the people say that they learn from the banker. You know, when we go to the bank, sometimes we not just only want to deposit or transfer the money, but at that time, the bank can give the information about the insurance, about how to invest, how to make the best use of money. So this kind of thing, I don't know in Indonesia, but in Thailand, the bankers have like always motivate and educate the people to for the best use of the money. So Thai people want to learn from those people rather than from social media or from the classroom. So when we want to improve financial literacy, so you can see we have to build a Star Wars. Digitalization can act as the stairways for financial system. So if you have the ladder, you can climb up to asset, to insurance, to loans, to like other advanced financial product. But you have to make the digital to make the digital system is widely for anyone. And then if you want to climb up with a strong, if the very safe, so you can build both financial and digital literacy because it serves as a guardrails along with the stairway. So when you have knowledge about how to invest, you won't get because some people still tricky, try to say, okay, you invest in this because it's low risk but high return. If anyone don't have financial knowledge or financial literacy, they will believe it, and then eventually they will bankrupt because those people just take the money from you. But if you know about this, you can just climb to the higher level easily, and then it's safe. Okay, so before is about financial inclusion. So now I would like to link to the green economy. Because now we face this, some global warming, is a high pollution. So we try to change the world to be the green environment, green economy. Green economy is defined as a low carbon, resource efficiency, and socially inclusive. In green economy, the growth in employment and income are driven by public and private investment into such economic activity, infrastructure, and assets that allow reduced carbon emission, pollution, and enhanced energy and resource efficiency, and provision of laws for biodiversity and ecosystem. So you can see the brown field and the green field, right? So because now many companies, many of them are still in the brown field, especially in the Asian side. So we try to change our company to the green field. Sometimes we have to take a baby step, small step to change. Why is important for corporate to change to be the green field? Because now we get some pressure from the world. If we don't change, maybe we have to pay higher tax for our product. In the nearly future, when we want to launch the product, they will ask us to declare what the percentage of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gas that you release to the world, something like that. So we have to change. Before its impact just only large company, but now for small company and micro company, they have to change as well, because small company is is a supply chain for the big company. Big company buy the product from small firm. Now they don't have to pay any tax, but in the future, if you buy the product from small firm, you have to pay higher tax. So if your small company don't change, don't do anything to for the better environment, so maybe the big company will change to buy another product from another small firm. So you lose, right? You lose the customer. That's why eventually the small firm still have to change for that. Okay. So circular economy, sustainable approach. So when we talk about circular economy, the green economy, we talk about minimize waste and then maximize resource efficiency. We talk about how we can reuse, renew, or recycle our product. So financial inclusion play roles by providing financial resource. I give you this example for circular economy. This company is produce milk. They have the cow, they produce milk. So they try to change, because once you get the milk from the cow, put in the bottle, when you transfer the milk to a further big process, the bottle you have to use the water to clean, right? And then those water is just throw away. But this company, the water that they use to clean the bottle milk, they use to leave it for the seaweed to eat. And then those seaweed is the food for the shrimp. So they use that seaweed to feed the shrimp. So now they can enlarge another business, not just only producing the milk, but they're producing the shrimp. And then in doing that, the employment, they have to recruit more staff, right, for the new chains of business. So this one can increase the employment rate. And also this one is the best use, and then don't just waste the water into the land. And then and then for this company, they develop the bag for the milk, which when you throw away, it's not become the waste. Financial inclusion in the circular economy. You can access to green product like green bond. I will talk about that later. So now many company, especially large company, listed company, they can issue the green bond, which means like the green bond that you give the green bond to the investor and the company get the money support, and then they can use that to develop the project which is sustainable for the environment, right? They can use that one to buy the machine, to change the top roof using some solar panel, something like that. But in order to issue the green bond, you have to like explain very clear what green bond, like why you want to raise the fund, issuing the green bond. So the company must have the indicators that they can show to the public. They already use the green bond and then they develop this and that, good for economy, good for the world, and then have the report. So this one is a green bond, so they can use with so many things, like it's about changing the product, is about energy efficiency, is renewable source, affording the loan for small business and enterprise, engaging in green technology and sustainable practice. So yeah, they can use the money to support, like to recycle, to change your machine, something like that, which eventually will impact local economy because the higher employment rate will be increased, right? We hire more people, and then it's good for the society. So ensuring anyone can affect the use of financial service, enhance financial literacy and inclusion, and then we should focus more on the product that is developed for women, people who are in the rural area, and then low income group. We also have to educate people about financial literacy, and then that one can eventually impact the social and economic empowerment. You can see the financial literature program here. Okay, so this one, this is from my university. So our students, every year they go out to rural area, teach the farmers how to do budgeting, because they don't know how to do budgeting, right? They have very low financial literacy. They don't know how to invest or make the profit, something like that. So we teach them how to do the financial budgeting, and then now they know what they want to focus. They know how to, every day they can check the sales and the profit, something like that. So this one is we try to increase the financial literacy, which even for them in the end, if they have enough knowledge about that, they can survive. And then they can engage more in the social activity. This one is very new. In Thailand, at the 7th September, just last month, Bank of Thailand organized the big event called Financial Transaction for Green Economy and Sustainable Growth. This one is focusing to help SME to get the loan. There are 8 banks like involved in this project. So this project is about how to say that giving the loan to SME who want to develop or who want to change some product or process to meet the economy, green economy sustainable. If they want to change the machine, so they can get the loan from this bank, and then before the bank just give the loan, but now if you go to the bank, you can get some, you know, like sometimes SME don't know how to change, even it's a baby step, they don't know how to change to be a better, like to get the resource efficiency. So this bank have the duty to tell them the step that they have to do. And then the SME have to show the bank about the indicator or eventually the report that they show to this bank. So they focus in many sectors like hotel sector as well. Now we, for the hotel, they try to change to be green hotel, right? Not just only to get the certificate, but this one is to get more customer in the future as well. So if your hotel is green, it's highly likely that in the future you get more tourists to stay. This is another example who went to those 8 banks and then get the financial support. You know, in Thailand, before we face a big challenge, is about PM 2.5. I'm not sure here you guys face that or not, but it's very polluted situation there. Why? Because many farmers in Thailand, they cut the sugarcane by using a very old traditional machine. So this one create a lot of problem because eventually we have to burn it. When burn the sugarcane leaf, so we have higher PM 2.5. So the bank give the loan to this farmer to change the machine to be more developed machine, so they can cut sugarcane but not harmful for the environment. And then also because the farmer cut the sugarcane just once a year, so this bank allow the farmer to pay back for the bank just only once a year when they cut, and then when they sell the sugarcane, so they get the money so they can pay for the bank. So this one is very supportive. And another one is a crowdfunding. I think it's still relating to financial inclusion because now SME and also individual like us, we can create the project, the green project to raise funds from others. This one is in Bangkok. Bangkok is very crowded. It's worse than Jakarta. So many pollution, many people, and then no space, no green space. So the people who initiate this project, they do the crowdfunding to get money support from people to build the green area. And then this one is, I think now they close the project because they already have enough money, so they are building this for the community. So financial inclusion can create the job, can support the sustainable business and livelihood, and also it contribute to the economic growth and sustainability. But there is some challenge and solution in the financial inclusion. Some barrier is like infrastructure, digital is not supportive, something like that, or regulatory challenge. And then some solution, we have to think about the policy, the technology infrastructure, and also giving the education for people. So this one, many stakeholders have to work together to improve this. I would like to talk a little bit more about my research. So the title is The Relationship Between Financial Inclusion, Digital Inclusion, and Health Outcome, Evidence from Developing Countries. So this one has just published. So we look at how fintechs and how traditional financial inclusion influence on the health outcome. And also we look at digital inclusion serve as a moderator, affect the relationship between traditional financial inclusion, fintech financial inclusion, and health outcome. So the data, we use the data from 27 developing countries focused on Africa and Asia. And this study analyzed the influence of financial and digital inclusion on health and improve an important social dimension. In In addition, we also analyze the modulating roles of digital inclusion between financial inclusion and health outcome. So we not just only look at traditional financial inclusion, but we look at digital financial inclusion, how it can affect the health outcome. For the health outcome, we use the entropy method to create the health index, which we focus on, the birth rate, the death rate, the number of beds in hospital, something like that. Okay, so this is the result. The results show that traditional bank and fintech inclusion impact the health outcome in developing country. And also we found that digital or technological inclusion is important to increase the financial inclusion and then it's improve the health outcome of the countries. So this is all about me. So thank you very much, and I'm sorry if I take a lot of time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Kapunka, all right. Okay, thank you so much. It's really insightful, and it's really actually also new knowledge for me about the financial inclusion, especially related to digitalization, where back in the days when we were just using cash everywhere, and right now we have to use QRIS, transfer and stuff. So financial inclusion is really important, that you mentioned the usage, the access, and also the quality of that financial services. And one thing that I highlight from your presentation is that the financial service itself must have green mindset, so that the corporation where they funding also can motivate it to be sustainable. If the financial service itself not really think about green or sustainable development, the corporation also just, I can have the funding without thinking about green stuff, so it doesn't matter for the company or for the SME in your case. And thank you for sharing us the recently published paper. It's really interesting. The comparison about the traditional and the digital financial, that actually both impact on health, right? So it's really interesting. So we'll move to the last speaker. Definitely last but not least. It's my pleasure to introduce our prominent lecturer here, Pak Andi Dwi Bayu Bawono, PhD, a senior lecturer and head of International Cooperation Office at Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. He holds a PhD in Accounting and Corporate Governance from Macquarie University, Sydney, and his expertise cover public financial management, corporate governance, risk management, and particularly in public sector. And he has served as a consultant for numerous international organizations such as USAID and the Asian Development Bank, contributing to public finance reform and financial accountability. So today he will talk about the role of public sector in promoting inclusive green economy, particularly in Indonesia.
Yeah,
yes.
Correct.
All right. You have around 30 minutes. Thank you. Right. The time is yours. Please give a round of applause for Pak Andi.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. So we can gather here. All distinguished speakers, thank you very much for coming. Dr. Ryan, Dr. Nisa, and then Dr. Pearl from Thailand. And then also all the guests, distinguished guests today who attend the conference, participate, all the maybe sending the papers or maybe articles today. All right, today we would like to discuss about the role of Indonesia's public sector in promoting an inclusive green economics. Yeah, especially we know that this is we have policy, and then we know that there is a challenge on it, and then how, and then what is the opportunity to get it in the future. All right. Okay, I think we already know about green economics, but how about the inclusivity? Yeah, that it is the key of the green economics. We already know in Indonesia right now, we talk about poverty, we talk about the social inclusion, we talk about the gender equity and everything, but sometimes we still lack, yeah, to measure and how to provide something that it is beneficial to them. Yeah, so we know that Indonesia inclusivity is also the essential, yeah, for ensuring that the green economic not only promoting the environmental sustainability but also, yeah, drives the social progress. This is the main key, yeah, that and reduce the inequality. We know that in our measurement right now about the poverty, you know, the gap between the rich and the poor now is getting higher. So this is also our challenge, yeah, to deal with it. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. So this is the thing that we need to think about. But I'm sorry, it's not research. It is not my previous research, but it is actually this like moderator said that it is part of my concept note for my project with TVET Australia. So we know that we have core principle that it is when we talk about the green economy. First of all, is we have sustainability. We already knew about it, and then yeah, Dr. Nosa has already think about how the sustainability also measure in the reporting. Yeah, and what is the social inclusion is also part of the Dr. Pearl mentioned about the financial inclusion, and also we have the economic equity that it is still the challenge for us in Indonesia. And then we know that, yeah, like Dr. Nosa said before and mentioned before, that now we need also think about the SDGs, yeah, Sustainable Development Goals of Indonesia is a tujuan pembangunan berkelanjutan, yeah. Yeah. This is also one of the future research for us that we need to maybe deal with it, yeah, with this kind of idea. So about the green economic, we can also, you know, link this idea to like SDG number 7, yeah, about the affordable and clean energy. Number 8, decent work and economic growth, yeah. SDG number 12, yeah. We talk about the responsible consumption and production, and also SDG number 13, yeah, climate action. And then now we talk about Indonesia context right now, yeah, that we know that current state of economics, yeah, we face the challenge about what is the green mining, for instance, yeah, and then we also face about the deforestation in several, yeah, Indonesian, area, like maybe Dr. Ryan also mentioned about the plantation of palm oil, yeah, and then this also impacted on the climate change, and also it's also reducing our number of area of forests, yeah, right. And then in social, how to deal with the cultural people. We know that the cultural people, or maybe masyarakat adat, is also part of our Indonesian, you know, perspective, how to deal and how to take care of them. And that is also some challenge to balancing, you know, the other side, we have to improve our economic, we have to improve our production, we have to improve everything. But in the other side, we need to take care of them. Yeah, this is also some kind of challenge for that. And then also environmental development. This is also, again, yeah, maybe in some cases we found that our, for instance, palm oil export is also, you know, banned in some European countries because they say that there is issues about the deforestation and maybe like land clearing using fire, everything. That is also our challenge for that one. Right. Okay. So this is we try to find out, yeah, what is Indonesian have done, yeah, or maybe Indonesian government have done, yeah, to promoting green economy. Actually, in terms of the regulation, Indonesia already formulate everything, and then, you know, it's already produce yeah, many regulation, yeah, to protect our environment. We can see that this is maybe related to green taxes. Yeah, right now we impose a green taxes that it is based on carbon. For instance, how we also impose carbon tax. Yeah, and we also provide the tax holiday, tax allowance, duty free, for instance, based on law number 7, 2021. Yeah, that is also related to the how we provide some incentive to the people who care about the environment. Yeah, and then we also have the sustainable public procurement. Yeah, in the presidential decree or maybe parapres. Yeah, we said number 54, 2010. They already imposed, and then they stated some kind of incentive if yeah, the government also provide some kind of when we or maybe they get the procurement process. Yeah, if they also care about the sustainability or maybe like the climate change and everything, they will provide the incentive. This is also renewed by the parapres or president decree number 16, 2018. Yeah, they already mentioned about it. And the last one, we have also the environmental governance, that it is also something that it is still Indonesia still challenges, yeah, to do, yeah, because we know that yeah, in the other side we need to provide and develop Indonesia bigger and maybe better, but the other side we need to take care about the environment. Yeah, right. We talk about forest degradation, yeah, unsustainable energy sources. Yeah, we know right now we also get some kind of incentive for hybrid car or maybe like electric car. Yeah, that one. And then the other one is the thing that Indonesian governments already promote and also increase is the budget allocation for environment. Yeah, there is some kind of function on Indonesian government budget that's also increasing. Yeah, the budget allocation to fund the green initiative. Yeah, yeah, to provide some kind of maybe like Dr. Pearl said. Yeah, about how to deal with the like manufacture or maybe they use the solar panel or everything. Yeah, yeah, okay. And then we know that in innovation and research right now is also increased. As a lecturer, yeah, as a researcher as well, we know that some schemes provided by the Ministry of Education, also Ministry of not Ministry, the BRIN, yeah, Badan Riset, yeah. It is also have some kind of criteria that it is also include the environment and the climate change inside. Yeah. Also in inclusivity. Yeah. When we deal with we call it what is GETC in Indonesia. Yeah. Gender equity, disabilities, and social inclusion. Yeah. This is also part of one thing that we need to think about, and when we have a research, we need to put it inside as our criteria. Right. This is also some kind of key policies that is already implemented in Indonesia right now. We have national energy policy. Yeah, policy. That's one. This is also a thing that it is very good. Yeah, about renewable energy and also energy efficiency. Yeah, this policy is aimed to achieve the national primary energy mix with the minimum contribution about 23% in next year, 2025, and then it will be increased to 45% in 2030. Yeah, yeah. So mixed within renewable energy and also this recent energy. We also have green sukuk or green bonds. The green bonds already mentioned by Dr. Pearl, and then green sukuk it is similar instrument like the bond, but it is an Islamic instrument for finance. This is also promoting, especially in financing the green infrastructure. Yeah, we have here also mandated by the Ministry of Finance. We have here is PT SME. Yeah, this is not Sri Mulyani Indrawati, but this is also the some company that's also owned by the Ministry of Finance. Yeah, they provide some kind of financing to the infrastructure. Yeah, and then we have also the OJK, the what is name? OJK is a finance service regulator. Yeah, that is also provide some kind of regulation. Number 60, 2017. That it is also provide some kind of permit, yeah, to issue the sukuk, the green sukuk, and also the green bonds. Yeah, and we have also some kind of laws, yeah, for environmental protection, yeah, especially for protection of forest and biodiversity. Yeah, we have the law 32 2009. Yeah, this is still very old, yeah, law. We already mentioned about it, and then we have a government regulation number 27 2012, yeah, government regulation number 24 2018, and yeah, etc. Yeah, this is the thing that Indonesian public sector, or maybe Indonesian government, because we focus on the Indonesian government, already have some kind of regulation to protect our environment. Yeah. We don't talk about the implementation right now, yeah? Okay, this later maybe. And then we also have how the initiative for inclusive development, yeah? How the rural development and poverty reduction through the green jobs, yeah? Yeah, you can just find out in the Google how the farming as a part of the green job, yeah, in the renewable energy, manufacture, construction. It's already mentioned. They also have incentive on it in our government regulation. Right. Yeah, still have challenges on it, because we know that, yeah, in some part of Indonesia, yeah, still in public sector, all about the money. We don't have enough money. Yeah, that's why maybe in some part of government regulation, they try to seek the money. First of all, yeah, from the, yeah, utang, bond from outside. I mean, yeah, we try to funding our Indonesian infrastructure, everything, or maybe government budget with loan, yeah, especially from foreign loan, yeah. From other countries loan, yeah, from China, from US, from, yeah, every country, yeah. This is the thing that it is our challenge for the future, that how Indonesia will deal, yeah, to reduce the loan, yeah, and then how this is also, if we would like to, and maybe must be get a loan for other countries, should be focused on how we need to funding or maybe finance for the green initiative. Yeah, about this one. All some challenge also. We found that first, balancing economic growth with environment protection. This what I said before. Yeah, mentioned before, that it is also our problem. Yeah, when we want to build our country. Yeah, but in the other side, we destroy our country. Yeah. Yeah, so how to deal with it? Maybe like mentioned about, also mentioned, yeah, from the previous speakers. Yeah, we know that some initiative how to deal with the, yeah, balancing growth economy, yeah, and also the environment is, maybe we need to have a harmony on it. Yeah, but again, it is also still very difficult, yeah, to deal with it. Yeah. We know that in special, like maybe Dr. Ryan has already mentioned, you know, how the poverty and then the relation with the plantation of, yeah, palm oil. There is a connection, yeah, that the plantation is also increasing, yeah, increasing the, I mean, the wealth of the people. So it is reducing the poverty, yeah. We also maybe hear about some cases in Indonesia, for instance, IKN, yeah, how the IKN built in Kalimantan is also destroying some forests over there, and then destroying the, you know, the cultural people, yeah. Yeah, this is also happening in Indonesia. This is also still our challenges, yeah. And then the other challenges, the other challenge is about the coordination across the governmental levels, because we know that Indonesia, we have the central governments, and then we have also provincial governments, and then we have the kabupaten and kota, or maybe like city and districts. That is also, they have their own, we call it like autonomy, autonomous. They are autonomous, maybe like area that it is also. Sometimes they have some difficulties for the coordination, among them. And the other one is about the social inclusion. How to ensure the vulnerable people, or maybe vulnerable groups, have benefit from the green economic policies. This is also our challenges. Because we know that in Indonesia right now, we have plenty of cultural people, we have plenty of social inclusion, like some people with poverty, some people with disabilities, some people with some kind of special issues that it is also need to be addressed in terms of the development in our government. Right, this some kind of opportunities for improvement. Then is also the thing that we need to think about. Maybe we can also put it this one to our research in the future. First of all is how we can deal with the financing the infrastructure or financing the environmental issues with the public-private partnership. So how do we increase the private investment in green project? In Indonesia, the government of Indonesia already issued the presidential decree for, like we call it a limited management right, or in the other one is we call it a HPT, hak pengelolaan terbatas. So when because like Ministry of Finance said, they found that many of the government lands already abandoned. It's not taken care of right in the right way. So we can also have a collaboration. The land is still owned by the government, but they will let the private to maybe develop, or maybe they need to put some kind of initiative to manage the asset of the government. This is the thing that we also need to be addressed in our discussion, also maybe about our research. And then the other one is we have actually the name is the acquisition management scheme, or we call it land value capture, or maybe P3NK, pengelolaan perolehan peningkatan nilai kawasan. This is also the thing that it is some new initiative from the government to get the funding from the private, and how to get the money, and then they work together to increase the value of some kind of asset that it is maybe still abandoned by because the government doesn't have money right now. This is also the thing that we need to deal with it, and then we need to increase. And then especially for capacity building, we know that our staff, our government staff, they need to have a new training, or maybe education, that it is mentioned about how they need to address the sustainable development practice to the project or to the activity in the government. We know that our government, especially local government, in the Ministry of Home Affairs decree, they have maybe 1,000 of activities. But how many percent that this kind of activities is support the environmental? This is still the challenge for us. And then again, promoting the green initiative, or maybe about the environmental issues, that it is based on activities a bit difficult when they sometimes need to calculate whether this is efficient or not. For instance, then using plastic bag, comparing to using the maybe the banana leaf, for instance. Yeah, it is also some kind of the thing that it is. Sometimes they measure about the efficiently, or maybe the economics. Yeah, the economic value. Yeah, and then we know that we also have an opportunity. Yeah, in regard to the technological innovation right now. Yeah, to reduce the carbon, maybe, yeah, we will increase, or maybe the government also increase the, not the offline method, but maybe online method for meeting, for everything, yeah. It will be increasing, so they will reduce first the cost for, like, what the name is, traveling, yeah, for travel, and the cost for, like, using car, because we know that our operational car for the government still right now, yeah, still using the not the energy, the renewable energy. Yeah. Even though this is also some kind of issue that the government will also issue one of the regulation that they will change all the government operational car with the electric car. Yeah, right now, but it's still happen right now, still process. Yeah, but it's again, it is also need the more funding for that one. Yeah, yeah, okay. And then the other one is we talk about the international cooperation for the opportunities for improvement. Right now, many foreign donors it's also came to Indonesia, and then they support, they provide some technical assistance, they provide also funding like World Bank, yeah, and then they also get some initiative, yeah, about green infrastructure and maybe green initiative, yeah. Yeah, this is also the thing that it is the good news in Indonesia, yeah, yeah. And then in the case studies, we found that it is also already done in Indonesia, yeah, like we have BRT, yeah, bus rapid transit, yeah, along with the MRT, yeah, yeah, mass rapid transit in Jakarta. Yeah, this now is become like what is maybe Mbak Wido is already knew about it, yeah, because he also now she live in Jakarta, yeah. Maybe when using the BRT or maybe MRT is more efficient, faster, and then cheaper. Comparing to when we need to use our own car, the private car. So this will be decreasing the, yeah, the using of the private car or maybe our own car, yeah, to go to the like for working or maybe for another thing. The bad thing is, yeah, the crowded will become on the weekend, yeah, Mbak, yeah, especially for like Puncak Pas, yeah, road, because all people will use their own car to go for tourism. Yeah, this is the thing. But again, this initiative is very good because this model will be try to decreasing, yeah, the carbon emission, yeah, and also try to, you know, lower the funding, yeah, for the people. They need to less spend for their money for transportation, right? And then we know about the peatland restoration. Peatland is a gambut, ya, tanah gambut. Right now Indonesia approach to reducing carbon emission. Yeah, this is so in the recent time, yeah, Indonesia is committed to restoring about 2 million hectare, yeah, of peatland. Yeah, so they also built some kind of, we call it BRG, Badan Restorasi Gambut and Mangrove. Yeah, this is also already occurred in Indonesia. Yeah, so establishing we call it dedicated peatland restoration agency, yeah? And then ban the use of the fire for clearing peatland, as it is. You know that when burning the peatland, it will be make the increasing of the carbon, yeah, emission, yeah, it is about 10 times higher comparing to non-peatland, yeah. But again, we still have a challenge that until right now, the wildfires already still happen in Indonesia. Even in last month, it's increasing 10 times comparing to July. Yeah, this is also a bit our challenges as well. Yeah, and the other one is about the green sukuk bonds, that it will be our alternative, yeah, for financing in the future. Yeah, right. Another case study maybe in Surakarta. It is also, I talk about the Surakarta. In Surakarta, they already mentioned about, and then they have some kind of waste management system. Yeah, that we don't. So the city encouraged the Surakarta, citizen, yeah, not to use septic tank. Yeah, they try to ban the septic tank using. Yeah. And then they provide some kind of using the pipe waste water. Yeah. So all the waste water from the household now is flowing through the pipe. Yeah, they will process it to the east area of the Surakarta. It's also good. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what our way, yeah, in the future, first of all, is we need to have a strengthening policy, yeah, for renewable energy, waste management. Yeah. Some cases in some area that is already good, yeah, we can use it as the example, yeah, yeah. And then maybe like eco-friendly agriculture, we also need it and required to use, and then maybe spread to our country. Yeah. And then collaboration. Yeah. We need to engage with the civil society. Yeah. Even in our governmental process for building, like budgeting or maybe like planning, they have some forum that it is also invite some civil society. Yeah, to discuss together to solve the problem that it is maybe impacted to the environment, yeah, in the city or maybe the district. We have also including the private sector, collaboration with international partners. This is also the thing that we need to have more initiative and address more in the future. And then about the long-term vision, yeah, this is our homework. Yeah, to create more inclusive, yeah, resilient green economic by 2045. We know that 2045 is our challenge, because we know that we also have some kind of what do you call it, like business demographic. Oh, sorry, bonus demographic business. Demographic bonus. But we don't know this will be bonus of demographic or maybe demographic catastrophe in the future, because it is dependent on us, yeah, right now. Okay, right. Okay, this is our final. Thank you very much. Matur nuwun. Danke. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Pak Andi. What a comprehensive presentation. It's quite familiar for us, especially we are in Indonesia. We have a lot of challenges and opportunity, but the main point is the government is really play a crucial role here for make the regulation. But maybe one point, Pandi, I think the challenges is also about the law enforcement, right? The policy. Indonesia has a lot of policy, a lot of regulation, but in a lot of research, the law enforcement in Indonesia is quite low. So, for the next discussion, all right. Maybe for the question and answer, right. And the case study also provided from Pak Andi in Jakarta, there is PRT. And also one of the new habit when I moved to Jakarta is there is no plastic bag from the store. So I have to bring my own tote bag to the store. If not, then I have to carry it in my hand. So that's also a good thing for the green and sustainable economy. All right, this is the time maybe that you've been waiting for, the Q&A session. So, wow, there is a hand already. Okay, I love the enthusiasm. Okay, the first one, Mbak in brown hijab. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thanks for this time. Before, I'll say sorry for my English. My name is Adilia Nihayatul Muna. I am from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. A very interesting topic to discuss, which is relevant to the issue in this Indonesia. It also Mr. Andi Bawono say about IKN, and we know that IKN is related to environment and maintaining a natural ecosystem, and also the importance of social welfare. I want to discuss about all present with about how we can build the green mindset, yes, to stakeholder and citizen, because I think of our problem is about green mindset, karena because citizen of Indonesia needed role model is also from government, because Indonesia have a lot of plus, tapi because I'm sorry, I'm nervous. But Indonesian government is not implement this policy. It's good. So my question is about how we can build a green mindset in citizen and stakeholder so we can build the inclusive green economy in Indonesia. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much. Maybe another two question. Yes. Yes, sir.
Do I need to stand up or just sit?
It's up to you.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to ask to Miss Samani from Sweden. So, we know that Europe continent has a strict rule about sustainability reporting. Even either in Singapore, that alignment with Europe, which has a strict rule too. But unfortunately, this is 180 degrees so different with our country, Indonesia, that does not have a strict rule about sustainability reporting. And also, our country, Indonesia, produce a lot of amount of gas emission per year that can destroy the nature. So my question to Ms. Samani from Sweden is, what's your advice or opinion for our government to get better in the future about environment? Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Your name, sir?
Oh, my name is Aris Riyadi. I'm a 5th semester student from accounting major at Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta.
Okay, Arif Riyadi. Thank you. Another one. Oh, sorry. The miss in the back first. Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Serena Alviola from Universitas Muhammadiyah. Thank you for the insight. By the speaker about green economy, Ms. Poi Pailin, one of the benefit of digitalization is financial include, but there is bad impact. Nowadays there is quite a lot of lottery, perhaps mostly in ASEAN, including Indonesia and Thailand. So can you share now the lottery is in Thailand and now the government is trying to address it. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. You asked about lottery, isn't it?
Yes, Miss.
Sorry, can you, Miss Pearl here, want to repeat one more time the question, please?
Okay. Can you share now the lottery is in Thailand and now the government is trying to address it.
About lottery, maybe related to like judo, something like that, or what?
Lottery.
Yes.
Yes, about lottery.
Like lottery. Yeah, right. Australia. Okay, I think we have 3 questions already. If you have any other, maybe you save it first. So the first question from Adelia, it's for Pak Andi. How to create green mindset for the stakeholder, especially the government and citizen.
All right. Okay. I think it's a long way to go. You know that how to make the culture that with this include the mindset of green economics and everything is, based on our, first of all, it's based on our family at home, and this is sometimes it is a bit difficult, if there is no example. And then right now we don't have, or maybe we still lack of some ads or something that it is in television, and how to maybe first of all how to put your rubbish, on the right place. It's also our challenge. How to deal with the environment. Indonesia, many people don't care about it. Maybe we don't know but most of our people don't care about how to put the rubbish in the right place, in the rubbish bin, for instance. Even though we have already, we have like initiative for like rubbish bank or something that it is, that collecting the rubbish and everything and try to spare with. It is only happen in some kind of villages. Not many villages do this. So first of all, we need to deal with ourselves in our family. That again, it is a long way to go. It's also, I mentioned about our habit. It is also sometimes it's about to what you call it, like not really good with the other culture for this morning. Dr. Nessa, about our habit to always late. Again, Emilio also mentioned about it this morning. These are our habit. How to address this one, and then we try to decrease this, this bad habit. Actually, it's back to our society. First of all, we need to do that. If the activity will begin on time, we should begin on time. It's also our habit that sometimes is not really good. So about the mindset about environment, it is similar. We need to have to change our habit, to change our mindset, and then, like maybe Widow said before, about how to get the sanction on it, how the rule of law need to be imposed, for the every mistake or maybe some kind of bad habit that it is done by the citizen. So again, we don't talk about the IKN because it is in many factors. Some people say it's good, some people say it's not very good. It will be discussed more, maybe not in this forum. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Pandi. So we're not discussing about IKN, like he said, like it's a lot of political issues there. So like Pak Andi said, for green mindset, it's easier for us to deep down for ourselves first. Like we have to like throw the rubbish in the right place, maybe filter it, classify the rubbish or something, and then plastic bottle, you see, not many of you using tumbler or something. So it's about habit, and to change, we need time to change, but we can change from ourselves first. Okay, the second is from Pak Arif. It's about the way sustainability is different between Europe and Indonesia, and what is your opinion to make Indonesia maybe better next time? Thank you.
Very difficult question to have recommendations for policymakers in Indonesia, but I can start with green mindset. I think it starts with people and how they change their culture and their habit. And I think your generation, the young generation, is much, much better, right, than what the previous generation did. And this brings this mindset, hopefully. So that translates to changes in the policies as well. So then government feels that they should react to people's requests, and they would provide more and more regulations. But as I mentioned also in my presentation, too many regulations perhaps is not beneficial either, because if you think about economic growth, that might result in economic disadvantage. So a gradual shift to policies and pressuring companies, corporations to change their habit is good, because certain habits, as you mentioned also as well in circular economy, can actually result for better profitability for the companies if they change their mindset for employment and so on. So I think first of all regulations, when they can afford it, and then second, the enforcement. Like you said, you have so many laws in Indonesia, but how to enforce it is another challenge, and it's also a problem elsewhere. In Europe, we also have regulations, but the enforcement could be absolutely a problem. And that's what I can also relate to my slides and my presentation on the stakeholders should be engaged. So it should be always an interaction. If you have their voice being heard thanks to regulation, that's great. But also it could be through informal channels such as media. I mean, media is a great representative of people. They can absolutely pressure corporations, and they can bring habits. And again, they are representative people. So if they have heard, if they think that people can follow them, they would push companies more and more to change their habits to be more green. So regulations, not too restrictive, perhaps gradual. So maybe it's good to start with ISSB in Indonesia, because we need to think about shareholders first and foremost. And then when hopefully corporations are ready, can go broader and make the regulations more restricted towards also embracing the rights of the other stakeholders, and not least the environment. So, yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you so much, Ms. Samani. It's really interesting to point out that first is actually regulation, but too much is not good. So, yeah, we need to have gradual changes, and then also the stakeholders should have also a power dynamic, so they have the ability to ask what they need, so that the corporation also can be responsible to them. Okay, the last question from Rina about the financial inclusion in terms of digitalization. Probably the lottery gone digital also. So what is your opinion about lottery in Thailand specifically?
It's very interesting question. I didn't expect some people will ask about lottery. You know, it's very, I think it's quite culture for Thai people that many people just hope to win the lottery. And actually for me it's about, like, of course government launched the lottery so they can get the money, something like that. But many Thai people, they are just, you know, like sometimes, I don't want to call it a daydream, but they just, instead of using the money, maybe save or invest in the stock market, but they buy the lottery and hope that they will win the first prize, something like that. So the first of every month and the 16th of every month, you know, Thai people just don't do anything and then wait for the result for that, which I think actually is not very good idea. So we need to build some financial literacy to see actually lottery is high risk, high return, I can say. Is when you win the first prize, you get a lot of money, but if you don't win, so all the money that you invest is lost. So I think, yeah, maybe we have to build more financial literacy and just maybe let them know that the money that they use to buy the lottery, if they use to buy the stock, and then if you know how to analyze which company you want to invest, you should invest in, looking at their financial statements, and then this one I think is much better than like invest the money in the lottery. Yeah, so that's what I think. And except the government lottery, you know, that is legal. But we have another type of lottery which is under-regulated, you know. If people don't buy the lottery from the government, they will buy another channel which they get the money as well, but is under-regulated. So I still think like Thai people need to improve the financial knowledge, financial understanding about how to make the best use of their money to maybe better investment or even buy other assets which you can see the value of it. So yeah, something like that. That's what I think.
Thank you so much. So probably the lottery comes from the idea that in Indonesia it's quite popular right now. It's not good, but it's quite popular, and a lot of young generation is addicted to it. So probably that's why the question come up. And then that's true that, yeah, we have to use our money wisely, use it for investment, but of course, there's also wise investment because you have to analyze your investment. So we still have time. Okay, can we have 3 more questions, please? Wow, right. Yes, 3 in the middle. All right. 1 in the middle. Probably, Mas, yeah, you raise your hand first, and then the next one is from the left side. Yeah, sir, in the back.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Bagas Tirta, and I have a question for Miss Ploy Paylin. I interest that people in your university teach financial literacy in the rural area. And that's what we're trying to do in Indonesia, because we have quite similar situation that people in Indonesia don't really understand about financial literacy. And the question is there any another way to educate people in the rural area besides teach budgeting that can also might be applied in Indonesia to increase financial literacy? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another one from the left side. Yes, sir.
Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
My name is Sya'ban Al-Musafir Ahmad. I'm from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta, 3rd semester, Kunting Mujering. I just want to ask to Pak Andi, my lecturer in UMS, okay? So like that, as you know that green economy is a policy which every country in this world need this policy to be the grow country in the future. And I think that, as Pak Andi said, Indonesia has the responsibility or has the role to promote this policy. I understand that Indonesia has the responsibility to do or to apply or to implement this policy in the Indonesian rule, maybe in undang-undang or the other, etc. I have ever read in book or journal and internet, I have given information that green economy need the big capital, need the big money to implement or to apply it. Something which I want to ask in this time, that is green economy relevant in the growth country like Indonesia, Thailand, and maybe the other country which has the big debt or as we know that our society, our society and our people in this country has the financial literacy is under percentage. So I can say that financial literacy of this country has been better from the other country. Okay, that's for me.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. One in the back.
Thank you for this time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nur Saliksan. I come from civil servant in the Selayar district in South Sulawesi. 1,077 kilometers in Surakarta. Yes. Okay. It's a theme. It's a building inclusive green economy. It's a interest to middle income trap in the Indonesian issue. How to finance for your all presenter for Indonesian boost the growth 5 and 8% in President Joko Widodo. Finish and until my opinion is building inclusive green economy is counterproductive in middle income trap in Indonesian. And terima kasih and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much. So the first question from Bagas to Ms. Pearl, the role of student here for financial literacy, like maybe you can recommend some material that they can share to the people in the rural area.
So I think because what I talk about, like they teach the farmers or like people in the rural area to do the budgeting is because they actually they have their products. For example, the farmer grow the rice, right? And then they don't know how to sell it. So and then if they sell it, they don't know like they have to think about the cost, the expense, and then the profit that they get. So we go there to help them or to teach them how to do it, these type of things. Except that I think what we can like work with them is not just only teach, but maybe do together. For example, except like teaching the budgeting, maybe they have their own money, and sometimes for the very rural area people, they are difficult to go to the bank, or if they go to the bank, they cannot get the financial support from the bank, they cannot get the loan from the bank. So the student or the teacher can teach them, you know, like some local rural bank that they can develop their bank. Everyone contribute a little bit every day, and then if anyone in the village want to use the money, so they can go to the local bank to get the money, but they have to think about the regulation, the system, how they can get how those people can pay back, something like that. So except from teaching, but maybe work together on some project, maybe start from the saving. And also, I think in order to motivate students to do that is a little bit, I think it's fun for our students because they study in the classroom, but when they have to teach those farmers, they have to go to the village. They have to stay with those farmers in their house, eat their local food. So actually, it's very enjoyable time to stay with those farmers. In the morning, they get up together, maybe go to find some material or go to the local market, cook together, and at the daytime, they educate those farmers. So I think just creating the good environment and then fund the environment, not just only for students, but for those farmers and link with their current activity, like saving, or help them to think about developing budgeting, how to do the marketing, how to sell those products. Yeah, because maybe they don't have any knowledge how to design the product, something like that. So the student can give some idea, even help them to sell by, you know, TikTok or this and that. And when they get the money from that, so they will feel more active. And then, yeah, at that time, you can let them know how to calculate the price, or how they can think some strategy to improve the profit, something like that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So a lot of stuff that can us as students to teach to the people in the rural area, like Miss Pearl said that, yeah, we can use TikTok, for example. Who doesn't use TikTok nowadays, right? So yeah, you can teach them to use TikTok to live selling their check. And then also interesting that you mentioned local rural bank. So in Indonesia we have like koperasi, maybe in a level of a village or in kabupaten. So it can be also used and as an alternative that maybe organizations small like SME is quite difficult for have a funding from the bank. So they can loan from the smaller banks such as the koperasi. And then the other two questions is, I think, for Pak Andi, from Mr. Syaban and Pak Nur. This is about the green economy policy is challenging, as you said, especially for developing countries such as Indonesia. Is it counterproductive? What is your opinion about it?
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a good question for me. I mean, yeah, for improving, yeah, our initiative for green economic, I think it's not counterproductive. Yeah, so yeah, we know that green economic need a big money on it. Yes, yeah, to change your habit to use plastic bag to another, yeah, alternative. It is so challenging. But it's not a big deal. I mean, yeah, it is the process, but it's not really, I mean, expensive. Yeah, in the future, for instance, yeah, the cultural method. I mean, before, yeah, in the rural area, we know that some people, if they went, or maybe they go to the market, they bring some kind of like pandan, you know, the bag, you know, pandan bag or something like that. They change to plastic because of practice, but they don't know that the plastic will ruin the environment. So just we try to return back to our maybe you know, history to use this one. If you talk about that is some kind of like a trap for middle income, actually it's not. If we can learn about some cases, yeah, for instance, when the Sragen people, you know, the Kabupaten Sragen, they change from the non-organic farming to organic farming. Yes, they need 3 years. They don't get anything. Their land, when they try to use the organic, they don't provide some good, I mean, harvesting for them. But after 3 years, the story is changing, because the result from their field, it's increasing at least 150%, right? It will be a good story. The other way, the land become healthy. So, you know, some kind of infrastructure that it is support the field is already there. Like, so what kind of eels, yeah. Usually they also have eels, you know, from the field, and then the other kind of apa cacing gitu, yeah, worm, yeah, everything. They make the, you know, their land, their field, their farm field, the paddy's field, getting better and better. And of course, they also have and then profit from the increasing of the price from the organic rice, comparing to the other rice. This is also the example. Yeah. The other one maybe the example from Wakatobi. I went to Wakatobi, maybe, sorry Pak siapa? Pak temannya Pak? Pak Nur ya? Yeah. You know maybe Wakatobi better ya than me because you come from Selayar. Before people in Wakatobi, they use bomb to catch the fish. What the impact? There is no fish. Yeah, in several times, they destroy the sea, yeah, the beach, everything, and no fish anymore. But right now, they try to make a restoration for the coral reef, yeah. They make restoration on it, and then right now they have a benefit that now some kind of fish is coming, and then more seafood. Yeah, I'm producing seafood is increasing in Wakatobi. See, for me, it's not about this is counterproductive, but it is actually is productive for the future, for increasing our, for instance, for the middle income. It is increasing our income in the future. Not today, yes, because changing habit is difficult. But when you try to changing and then you get the benefit on it, you'll get more when you try to implement the green economic in the future, right? I think it's enough. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Andi. So it's hopefully not counterproductive. Probably the result will not be. Oh yeah.
There is some kind of additional answer for Mas
Syaban,
yeah, about the funding, yeah, how we get the money to financing the green economic. That's why we offer some kind of, the government also offer some kind of regulation about the public-private partnership. Yeah, so they can collaborate between the government and also the private sector to try to develop some kind of initiative that it is support to the green economics. So yeah, I think it's not really matter about the money. If the government itself, they try to fund every infrastructure, yes, it will be cost more than our budget. But when they try to get some kind of collaboration between the private and the government, it will be easier in the future.
Okay, thank you, Pak Andi. So it's really, it's answering both questions that green economic policy should be implemented right now, but the result maybe we will see the result in a few years, hopefully, but it also needs collaboration from all of the parties that related, from the government, for the corporation, for people, citizen, and everyone, so that the green economy will give benefits to all of us. So we have some few minutes. So is there any two questions from the ladies in front? Yes? Yes, please. Oh yeah. Yeah, the master of ceremony can also ask the question. First, the ladies first.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Nabila, and I'm from Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. I would like to ask to Miss Samani, and I go straight to the question. Since one indicator in ESRS is employee in the value chain, do you think ESRS will impact company in Indonesia that can be the supplier for European company? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Nabila. And then, yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Ainun Fadila Zara. I'm from accounting major, Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta. And I want to ask to Mr. Andi Dwi Bayu. And the question is, as we know, many areas in Indonesia are managed by private company. And then what are the government steps to implement green bonds and do collaboration with private company, but the private company has no CSR and do green economy before take the last way to shut down the company? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And last one from the Master of Ceremony here.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Indra. I have some question for Mrs. Samani. Recently, the European Union declared European Union anti-deforestation regulation, which reduce cooperation with countries that are indicated to be associated with deforestation. First question, in your opinion, does EUDR only transfer the impact of deforestation from European Union country to non-European Union country? And the second question is, does EUDR only reduce imports of agricultural product or derivative product too? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So there's two questions. There are two questions for you from Nabila and from Indra. It's about the ESRS, especially that you mentioned the value chain, the supply chains also impact to Indonesia, and that's the question. Also related to Indra's question about anti-deforestation, particularly probably in Indonesia, and what is your opinion about it?
So as for now, we know that outside Europe, most countries are applying the other international standard setting board, which is ISSB, and with the focus on financial materiality. It's because it's more homogeneous to what they have already been reporting. So for example, financial reporting, they had this shareholder perspective, how their actions basically, or they can capture the performance based on these measurable inputs that they have. And it's easier to start with that if we have this kind of performance indicators in mind. When it comes to the impact materiality, how corporations affect the environment, it's much more challenging to come with measurable inputs. And that goes to the environmental aspects, which is a little bit easier because we have now scope 1, 2, 3, for example, for CO2 emission, but it's much harder when it comes to the social aspects of how they're treating, for example, employees, their health, other social security aspects that they should provide for the employees. But having said that, you mentioned that some Indonesian companies had GRI before, global reporting initiatives, the larger companies perhaps, and that's absolutely a great starting point to then move to ESRS, because as you probably know, ESRS is actually quite aligned with the global reporting initiative, and some actually question, did we need to have new standards if you are very close to the GRI already? So those companies that already had GRI, the transformation to ESRS is absolutely much easier for the Indonesian companies. And for the second question,
about
it was
about anti-deforestation.
Yeah, deforestation. My area is not so much the agriculture economy, but I know from another colleague that I have from Malaysia, they are also having a lot of struggles with palm oil, and they have this challenge to now sell their products to European companies because of these new directives that is implemented in European Union. So I think it again goes back to the stakeholders, the importance of stakeholders. So I think if Indonesian corporations recognize this, that their consumers are now in Europe and they have to follow certain legislation, they're going to actually change their behavior as well. So I think this is only good, even though perhaps it's challenging in the beginning, but it helps them to transfer to more sustainable behavior and these policies that they should do for deforestation and be more sustainable in that. I think it's going to bring that action. There would be more collaborations, hopefully, with European companies. I think with Malaysia, for example, a lot of colleagues we have, they're coming to Europe to understand how they should provide their reporting and how should they gradually change their actions in order to also satisfy this consumer demand. So hopefully, all go through the right direction.
Okay, thank you so much. So, yeah, this ERCRS is actually probably will be easier if Indonesia implemented instead of IFRS because it's really different approach, right? But yeah, nowadays Indonesia is try to implement the IFRS first. After a lot of company in Indonesia implement GRI, which is impact materiality, then we want to switch to IFRS, Sustainability Disclosure Standard, unfortunately. But then, as I mentioned that internally we have to have my green mindset, but then with the supply chain, a value chain for the corporation, then the external parties, such as another region, another country, can push us to be more green, because otherwise we have to pay some kind of penalties or more taxes, like in Europe, right?
Actually, this is a very good point, because now the corporations, even in Europe, they have to report, not now, but they gradually, in 3 years or so, they should also report on their supply chain. That hopefully resolve, if the supply chain is, for example, in Indonesia, that can change their practices as well towards more sustainable performance.
Yeah, for both countries, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, therefore, probably recently, like Indra asked about the anti-deforestation, because we in Indonesia, we consider how are we going to cooperate with another country if they don't like Indonesia because of our deforestation, such as in IKN stuff. So. Yeah, maybe he think about it because it's come into the news recently. So yeah, it's popped on in his mind. And then the last question is about how the government and the company encourage the green bond, Pak Andi.
Yeah, maybe it's a good question. Yeah, first of all, I think it's green bond and also green sukuk in Indonesia right now, not only for the private company. Because we have also regulation from the law of HKPD, Hubungan Keuangan Pusat Daerah. So this law also offer for the local governments, they can also issue the obligation or a bond or maybe a sukuk that it will be impacted to their finance. I mean they can add more finance based on this kind of model of instrument of the financing. Yeah. So again, Indonesia now is try to seek another funding from private sector, not only for the company but also for the government. There's also special also for building the infrastructure that we can also focus also in green infrastructure. And then about the what it calls like a sustainable report, it's also part of the CSR report right now, So this is not issue in Indonesia, so we can just put it in the CSR issue that the CSR report must be also include the sustainable reporting, right? Okay.
Thank you so much for all the speakers and all the. The participation is really a lot. I'm so happy. Give round of applause for all of us. Well, we reached at the end of this session. I just want to summarize that this topic, building inclusive green economy, is actually for supporting the sustainable development ideas that we all have right now, which is balancing the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their needs also. So it probably needs current sacrifices. We need some sacrifice, but we might not immediately see the result, but we will see the result for probably for the future generation also. So thank you so much for your time and your participation today. We reached the end of this session, so thank you so much and have a great conference after this. You will have a presentation. So thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to the four speakers and moderator for the insightful discussion. Before we move to the next agenda, I invite all speakers and a moderator to stay on the stage to receive the token appreciation.
The token of appreciation will be presented by the chair of the International Conference on Economic and Business Study 2024. We now invite Mr. Nandia to come up to the stage. Honorable guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, finally we will have our lunch break before we begin parallel session.
We invite all the participants to have lunch break. Please be ready at parallel room at 12:45 p.m. because the parallel session is going to start at 12:45 p.m. sir.
Enjoy your lunch, have a good time, and thank you.